right, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. As always, we're going to do a broad market outlook, and then we're going to some top ideas and one member's ideas today, since it's a small group. So again, starting off, the big thing I want to focus on was the 10-year retesting and potentially pushing through this prior high, which we're kind of seeing already, kind of pre-market. So again, we should expect to see a little bit, another day or two or whatever, push up, put in a new high, and look at all those articles and talking on the TV, talking about how the 10 year is going to go to 5 or 6% this year and how interest rates going to go to 10% when this is the, that capitulation of this run. And conversely, with the 10 year running up, the market's been, trading the opposite of what the 10 year has been doing. So once this does start to actually roll over and this steep uptrend starts to finally break, like we saw with energy this year, energy was in this very steep uptrend and we never thought it was going to end. And then it did, and it reset and dropped 30%, and now it's in a different pattern. Same thing here. It doesn't look like this pattern is going to break because it's been running up, but eventually they often do. So when that does happen, that's when we want to start to put some more risk on. But for now, we're kind of in no man's land in the SPY that we still need, either a push back above this 390, but really we need to see the market kind of drift back into this lower end of the range. And that's where we can find those bigger kind of support buybacks than trying to chase kind of in the lower end, the middle of the overall range that we've been in these past few months. Energy seems to be leaving the stage it was in, this little breakout stage. It seems like it's kind of shifting over to more of like a topping pattern again, or we want to call it a base or a flag, whatever you want to call it. But it seems like this uptrend is starting to shift into more of a consolidation. Telecom still down here in this broader breakdown stage, and eventually with time, it seems to be that it's going to probably try to work itself out of this base in this breakdown stage and work itself higher. But for now, it's still very, very weak, breaking new mid-2-week lows. Most of the sectors are kind of in the middle of nowhere in their relative ranges. Really not much we can do with a lot of these sectors. It seems a lot of these have to really kind of shake out these lows. It seems like a lot of these sectors, mid caps, staples are all kind of getting back near their recent support areas. And we have to expect more of a shakeout than these little, like, it just kind of comes in and turns back up. We really need to see like a hard shake to really change the conviction that everyone has in these sectors. So for now, it's just kind of wait and see for a lot. And again, most are pretty weak. Industrials, this is definitely not a good sign. Dow 30, NASDAQ, all these sectors, there's really not much here for us to really do. Again, utilities, strongest sector among them, which is probably a red flag in itself. Again, utilities is, the flight to safety sector when things get a little rocky. So when they're at all-time highs or near it, we have to take those clues for what they're telling us. But for now, it seems that we need to, at least break this area of support. That seems to be the overall theme. A lot of these sectors really need to break support pretty harder than they have been so far before we can really get that shake out and move higher. Stock wise, again, we have this T-Mobile still, holding up here near this blue sky breakout. Again, talking before, probably got to break this support before it's going to really, turn up any bit higher. And there's, not that many ideas on my end. There's a few. We have this JP Morgan. We can see this broader breakdown stage. We can see kind of the smaller base that it's been in for the past, basically the entire summer. And it's kind of converging on this base and this kind of horizontal breakdown stage or diagonal breakdown stage it's been in, and looking to buy up through this 120 versus this like 114, 115 area for now is the stock it's setting up. And again, the CVX, but we just talked about how the energy sector seems to be leaving that breakout stage and moving into more of a consolidation stage. So the CVX is probably one to also just keep more on the radar than looking to buy the breakout of this 165. So those are the two. JP Morgan is probably the bigger focus for me for this week that I'll keep a closer eye on. And that's better than my end.
All right, cool. We got a few member ideas here. Abby's got a massive list. We'll go over like the top ones here. First one is Tesla. She's looking to buy through 304. Tesla's had some pretty solid relative strength. I mean, compared to how the market was acting last week, this has just sort of been flagging while the market dropped a significant amount of points. She's looking to buy through 304, which seems a little early to me. Seems like, a lot of sellers right there. If you look at like that Thursday reversal candle, it tells me that there's a lot of people just kind of getting rid of shares there. Seems like they probably bought off support. So you have to kind of remember who you're fighting against here. You're fighting the people that bought around 280 on that pivot, trying to sell up here. Probably needs to clear that resistance area first to really get moving.
Yeah, I feel like Tesla's not really anything you need to like sneak into, because when it does want to go, it definitely can, it definitely does that. Like it goes on these, big runs very quickly that you don't need to like try to sneak into these names. Where again, this is like through this 319, is 315, 320. Like this seems just like a much bigger, like, when the name has even broke, it's broke 320, it's broke 320, it's broken down through it. It's, it just seems like this is probably the bigger spot for this name. And when it's going to have one of these bigger runs, like it's probably going to be through this level, that just waiting for that is probably going to be easier than like, sneaking in above the high a day versus a low a day pivot. And it's like, it's, this is resistance for now, 320 resistance. So you only have in the short term, like 20 points upside. I would probably just wait for this to develop more, or just buy it through this.
Yeah. Next one she's got on watch, I know a lot of people are watching, is this NOC. We've been watching for, I feel like, it feels like all year. Through 488, she's looking at.
This is kind of like another Tesla. Like it's, I see what she's looking at. If she can keep it super tight, if she's buying 48 versus like 480, she's risking 2%. I can see what she's doing there. I don't know if she wants to buy 48 versus like 464 right now, but I think through that area, through 497, 498, through 500, these all seem to be like just like that, kind of like that Humana. Like, once it starts to get through that high, like this is that NOC right now is like where Humana was, like in this little green circle. And this is where, that was blue sky. And now it continued to like kind of work itself higher. It's not going to be perfectly clean, but kind of that same thing. Like,
I think that 500 is key. I think it just, once you get that strong break through 500 on volume, that's when the stock will start moving. So it'll probably chop around until then. So if you are tight on it, you can expect to get shaken out, versus if you just go light, have a loose stop, let it work. When it finally breaks 500, then you can maybe look for a momentum flag to add to it, so that you're not just getting chopped around in this area. I think it's probably the best way to go about it.
Definitely agree.
Next one, LLY through 312.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, I see what she's looking for. But you do kind of have this little downtrend in here. It's kind of like a toss up. It's like a coin flip. Either it's going to be an easy short through 304, down to 300, back down to 280, or you sneak in for a little buy and it breaks this downtrend and runs back to 340.
Yeah.
Again,
That's exactly what I'm thinking too. It looks like I think it could easily go down as much as it could go up. Gap down on that Tuesday, and then just sort of digested that little gap down, didn't even go fill the gap to the upside. I think it's a good risk reward in either direction.
Yeah.
So then she's got a few more, but let's cover those after. Alex has a few here. He's looking at ABC 141. B is in boy. No, ABC.
Oh,
there you go.
There we go. Okay.
ABC 141. So it looked like a lot of his trades, he's looking for support buys. So yeah, looking for that, I guess, sneaky buyback to 141.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, so I kind of messed up this Netflix. I got shooken out, and now looking at it, like it just looks phenomenal.
Mhm.
But again, it was like that day, this day when Netflix opened looked like absolute, dog shit. But that was the tight risk buy, risking, $5 in Netflix, 2%. And we got this rate follow through. And then again, on Friday, the market was really crappy off the open and I got shooken out. But now it still looks phenomenal. Like now it's like if I was still in it or whoever is still in it, it's like try to hold through this, for at least for 250 and then try to hold through the break where this ABC looks horrible right now. But that's where you need to like, if you can buy 141 versus 139, you can risk $2. You can very realistically get a move back up into this upper end of the range on tight risk. And that's what you want to find. And like, of course, before it triggers, it looks horrible, but that's what you kind of have to find with these small buybacks. So definitely,
Yeah, I feel like especially in this market, your 5-to-1 risk rewards really come from these sneaky buyback moves. They're not going to come from like these resistance breakouts because most of them just don't have the legs and the buyers to really push it 5-to-1. So
Mhm.
like I've noticed, I mean, even Shake, he's taking his small base hits that are maybe 2-1, 3-to-1 on these resistance breakouts. But the support buys, the reason that you can get that 5-to-1 is because the risk is so low and you know that it's been up to that 5-to-1 target before. So there's probability that it can kind of just, continue the pattern of getting back up to resistance. And that's a great 5-1 trade.
Yeah. And that's again, when you are buying support and it does look like shit, you need to be able to get out of them first, as quickly as possible. So even like Cisco, for me last week, those were the two buybacks. It was like, Cisco near support and Netflix near support. Netflix worked, but I got shaken out. Made money in it. Cisco, I lost, 0.5% or whatever it was. This was one like it shook out support, it came back, but once it started to fail, it's like this is not the action I want. I don't want to see Doji at lows the day I'm buying, closing like shit. I want to see, it ripping into the close, and then I know that I have them right in the trade. So like the next day when this thing got smoked, the following day it was like I made the right decision getting out of this and losing very little. And then trying to hold on to this Netflix, but then once it, obviously wasn't able to hold on to it good enough, but at least this one made up more so than this tiny loss.
Yeah. Next one, ACHC. I know we've been watching this one for a while as well. He's looking to buy this one through 85.
Yeah, I mean, strong name's been flagging for, I guess, a month, 2 months now.
Sitting right at an all-time highs. If you zoom out to like August 2015, you'll see it's like sitting right there.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so it is definitely nice. I mean, at the moment, I would say this is solely retesting all-time highs, so it may need a little more time. Kind of needs like that third attempt, so almost a pullback to that little 78 level that you drew out, and then a pushback higher would probably be ideal. I think that would make it really, really A+. But solid chart.
It's like if you gotta take the shot and it doesn't work, but like you're only risking the $2 here.
Right. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, if it doesn't, we don't get that, and this is the time it's ready. It's like,
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Next one, AEL. Not looking to buy it right now, but he said through 26.5 in time. I think let me check it.
Do I have the wrong name up?
I think you do. I think you might have mixed up his, or I mixed it up. Let me check.
AEL.
Yeah, you said AEL, failed breakout last week, re-entry. I think that's the wrong chart. AES is what he meant. He meant AES.
Okay, through 28.
Through 26.5 in time. So I guess he's looking for it to kind of find some support at Friday's low and then buy it through 26.5.
This is always like tricky. Like I try to avoid this like the plague. I feel like if you miss this run up, it's like, and you're trying to get in that for like that second attempt when you miss this, especially in this name again, it's the utilities name, very low beta. Again, utilities have been strong, but in the last month or so, this has gone up 30%, 20 to 30, 33%, actually almost 50%. In a month, and now you're trying to get in when it's rolling back over. That to me is like, that's like right here, like you missed this run up and you're trying to find the trade here. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's just like, you missed it, you gotta move on. Until you're buying it like through, like this is just like, just buy it through the all-time high. Like buy
Yeah.
28 or buy 29. But again, this is the utilities name. This is again why we try to avoid, or at least why I try to avoid the sub $30 stocks. Let me go to a monthly for this. This has been
Oh,
well, again, we're going, when people were buying Beanie Babies back then. But for the last 20 years, that's the bigger thing, remember, the last 20 years, the stock has not traded above $30 a share. That should be like all you need to know is like, this has not been a $30+ stock for 20 years for most of our lifespan. It's probably not gonna be a $30 stock next week. So this is where it's like, that's where you get to just know, it's like, this is probably just an avoid. I don't want to be like, the ceiling is there. The ceiling's, not going above 30. It's way easier to be in those pricier names where they're not stuck with that, that ceiling overhead.
yeah, I'm with you there. Chris has got a few. He's looking at, he said he's got orders set for IMXI through 2375.
International Money Express. We're doing this company. Through 24, 25 or 24. What he's looking to buy?
Yeah, he's looking to buy through 2375.
Okay, yeah. All right, so I mean, again, this is another one of these, like, again, I hate these cheaper names, but he's risking a little less than $1 here. You probably get to move back to 26. Let's see. Okay, more recent IPO. International Money Express sounds like a Western Union type of thing, but tight little risk there. But again, cheaper stock. If he does, probably have to buy through 26 in time. So it's all right.
Yeah. Next one he's looking at is NJR through 45.
Okay.
At low cheat level.
340, yeah, so 345 versus $44 risk. Definitely can probably have like that bigger entry through that 48. But for now, it's like you buy through 45, you sell into 48. And then if it holds up and you eventually can re-add back through it, that seems to be, this looks good. Like this is like a nice little, tight risk entry. Definitely with them on this one.
Yeah, and next one he's looking at is DGII through 35.
So again, telecom sector, worst sector this year. This is a telecom name hanging out all-time high. So they're definitely doing something right here. Maybe he hasn't been consolidating or flying up here for the longest amount of time, but he's trying to buy 35. And he's going to keep it tight versus his 34. Again, another dollar risk. Definitely worth the dollar risk here for you get that move 37, maybe it pushes higher.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Fred's got a question. He said, regarding Netflix, would you look to re-enter through 250 or somewhere else?
No, I mean, I definitely I botched this. So this is like, not like for Alex's trade with that utilities name, like the name had ran up 30%, starting to roll over. You got to just move on. This is the same thing. I had an amazing price. I got shooken out. I still made whatever 10 points on, it was 2-1 on a shakeout or whatever. I'm not going to now butcher the next trade because I had a good trade. Like I messed it up. It's, on to the next. If it sets up again, but I'm not going to just blindly buy 250 now because I bought 220. It probably gets up there this week because it closed really well on Friday. But I'm not going to like try to now hunt for that next setup because I fudged up the first one. I need to give it time for it to kind of step back up.
Mm-hmm. Got it. All right. Well, that's everything for that. Abby did have a few more if you want to go over some of those. She's also looking at MCD, McDonald's through 256. I'll see what you set up there.
I mean, if she's buying it versus 252, again, this is more, definitely more of a shot. I think with what I was, again, trying to articulate with the big picture board market outlook is that we're seeing some of these support areas hold, but really when you need to see like that change in conviction, like, okay, so here we go. I'll try to use this as a better example. Let me get rid of these lines. So when McDonald's was flagging out here, and it was like fiddling around with the support, it's like we would want this to hold and we want to buy back up and be able to buy through 256. But you need like that shakeout to shake everyone, to shake these people out, to force them to kind of want to come back in and chase the name and try to push it back higher. And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing right now, where we want, or I don't say hope, or like, I guess we are hoping. We're hoping that support holds in a lot of these sectors and names. We really need it to have that hard break or that hard shakeout for a couple of days where then everyone's like, oh my God, we're going back to zero. And that's when you get that like that move, that shakeout move back higher. And that's when you get these, you get these bounces versus when they do perfectly hold support and turn back up. It's like that slow kind of grind higher because everyone that's been in the position is in it. No one's been shaken out and has to chase. So I think, this is definitely a shot for her, but I think it needs to really shake this 251, even probably shake down to, this 248 area and really push lower before it gets that next leg higher.
Yeah, looks like a head and shoulders right there. I mean, from that neckline. No, not even there, just starting from July. Yeah, that's a head and shoulders pattern to me. So looks like it goes lower. She's also looking at VRTX. I know a few people were looking at this one through 292.
Yeah, this looks really good. It's been set, flagging on here for a while now. It's getting super tight. I would rather buy this all day long over McDonald's. Like,
yeah.
Again, it's a little bit of risk. You're buying 295 versus 280 for now. Not that, even though it looks tight on the chart, it's still a little wide. And this is not something I'm going to buy Monday morning. Like if this is opening up today 295, it's like, you can take it without me. But if it sets up this week and it's a little bit tighter and you can realistically give it, maybe the $10, then, all for it.
Yeah. She's also looking at APD 250.
APD. Okay. So kind of, but then again, this is another one's like, this isn't really the shakeout like that we want to see. But if she can, I mean, this would be like, since it's like if she's buying this kind of like reversal here, it's like you almost just buy the 248 versus that. Like you just buy above the high day versus the 244, and it is that real shot. But this doesn't seem like a big enough shakeout down here that it seems like it needs that, like much, even like that McDonald's, like it needs to just really push further. This is like too perfect.
Yeah.
That you're like want it, like that's like even Microsoft. I feel like right now this is one of those like kind of coin flips. Like this looks either it's going to smoke this low, or this is like the tightest risk, 1% risk here, or it's like, okay, you buy 246 versus 242. If you get that strong move off the open, like for Netflix, like that, this buy that day, it was like either it's going to get, it's going to smoke this low, or it's going to reverse higher. And with that Microsoft, if you can get it, if today is that day, and you can buy, opens up through 245. Like this to me is like one of those, it's a good coin flip. It's either it's going to smoke this or you're going to get really good stock. And this is a big range. So if I take this off the open, I'm going to really just treat the stop versus that low and not move it quickly like I did with Netflix. So I'm just trying to find like a relevant example. And I'm going to actually put a buy stop in this once we get off this phone call, because I think this is worth, that coin flip.
Perfect. Next one she's looking at is DG, Dollar General through 245.50.
246. Again, have a point. Is not going to make a difference in his name. Yeah, again, strong name, top right through 260, and again, you're trading within this range for now. So if
Yeah,
that's
it's
gonna be a
like-
trade, then again, there's big ranges out there. That if you can get, for this, she's got 15 points upside, she's got $5 a downside, okay, it's 3 to 1. She's in the right area, she's looking top right. So, but that's, you have to just be aware that, like, when we're in these ranges, we have to be taking profits, even like for Airbnb. I forgot who was in it. And
Eric.
it was like, when it looked perfect, these days at resistance, that was the days to take some profits. Eventually it will break that base, but when you're buying that 115, 120, you need to be selling some into resistance. And knowing that eventually when it goes, you can re-add, but you need to trade that range while it's in the range.
I'm with you there. Next one, last one, HII through 236.
Again, aerospace, defense sector definitely has been strong lately. 256, 236, 240. I mean, 240 probably seems like the bigger level. I think a lot of these are these like kind of little sheet in levels. And I think, I mean, they're okay, but I think just waiting for those bigger levels like Tesla, just waiting for that bigger area, then messing around with it before it's really gonna break this bigger area. It's probably easier just to wait for this break than this break.
Yeah. And that's about it. Got the open in 30 seconds.
All right, guys. Well, we got the first sample, and I know it's going to be kind of hard to see from this webcam, but it's honestly, watch like beautiful. We'll hopefully have the rest of them hopefully in the next month or so for everyone who pre-order them. Pretty sure Blake is going to get one. We'll have them shipped out pretty soon. So I hope you guys enjoy them. And good luck today. And I hope that will be looking like Microsoft right off the open.
All right. See ya.
All right. See you guys later.